Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Zainal. Today is my BDP presentation, Bachelor Degree Projects 1, that entitled as Investigation the Property of Distribution Power Source for Dual Direct Current Voltage. So, this project is supervised by TS Dr. ZIKRI ABADI bin Baharudin. I'm from JTKE and course BEEI. Basically, this is a development or investigation from the previous project. That, as you can see from the picture there, that is the project that has been done by Muhammad Fikri during 2019. So my job is develop some of the issue that he stated from his report. So let me start. Before we going further, this presentation will highlight 317, the introduction of the project, problem statement, project objective and the scope, methodology of the project, initial result from the BDP1 here, and the conclusion. And lastly is project planning for the BDP1 and the BDP2 for next semester. So for introduction, in split voltage power supply application, an electronic analog circuit required a dual power supply functionality to operate, and this is especially true of the operation amplifier circuit. The analog circuit is a connect between the positive voltage rail and the negative voltage rail. It's also named as a dual power supply that provide two separate voltage, one positive and one is negative, that generate from the singular source of power supply. The importance of the power supply for all electronic device in the system to ensure it functions stable. So basically, that the power source in this system supply the lightning detection system, and we will study the property of the battery and the VCC, the common collector voltage, where the VCC was positive and negative, that we take from the battery that giving a 12 volt with 100 amp per hour. So that's for the introduction. As we can see from the picture, that is a traco that we use, and in theory it function a singular input from the battery and amplify. There is some electronic power work in that module to give the output for a positive voltage and negative voltage for DC for the system. Yeah. Next is problem statement. This BDP carry out a problem statement. It is based on the primary troubleshooting action. We found that the power supply distribution for all sensors associated with the noise that probably generated by the switching action from the TACO power TEL31222. The purpose of the power traco is to separate positive and negative VCC power source from a single battery that I'm said in the introduction before. The VCC were used to supply all the sensors. The existence of the noise will degrade of the level of quality signal and the system performance. Yes, we need to admit that the electronic equipment will produce a noise. So the noise in the system make a problem and the issue to the system. Yeah, that's our problem statement for this BDP. We carry out few objective and scope project to be focused, and we investigate to develop this system. So there is 3 objective and 4 scope for this project. First objective is to replace the switching action of the integrated circuit, it is traco power in the system to increase the reliability of the power supply. Next is analyzing and constructing the distribution power source for dual direct current voltage from the integrated circuit. Next is evaluating the performance of the sensor system when manipulation is power distribution has been complete. That's the three main objectives for this project. Next, scope project. Firstly, investigate the property of direct current DC power supply that with a fixed input. We know that this system generated by a standalone of battery 12 volt 120 amp per hour. So we need to study what type of signal, the property of the battery, what is impact to the system that it supply the power. Next scope is the isolated regulated DC-DC converter to support the efficiency of power distribution. So we know that the supply distribute, so we need to maintain the efficiency. Next is replace the traco TL122 with a better efficiency as a main function to separate the positive and negative from the power source. Next, lastly, our scope is investigate of the undesirable electrical energy that fall within the passband of the signal from voltage switching. In other name is noise in the system. Yep. Is methodology. We know we need to produce a method to investigate this and development. We study a lightning detection system and the controlling problem. Next, investigate the dual power. Next, to the property of the traco. Then suggest a few methods. That is our initial result. Next, compare and analysis with a simulation using ORCAD. On the right side, after understand the EMC and EMI electronic circuit, we investigate the noise of or unwanted signal. Design a circuit or method to solving the EMC problem. So that's the flowchart. Next, after completing, evaluating and analyzing the performance of the signal using simulation software, we are doing this at the BDP 2. Collecting a data for the chapter 4 and assemble the hardware. In that period, we try to assemble and see how it's work actually. Lastly, evaluating. After we've done development and research and doing a design, we're evaluating. Is it our investigation and development proof and help to solve the problem that we state early in this presentation. Yep. Next is initial result. So if you remember at my methodology for the initial result, we suggest to replace a power module, tracker power module. As you see in the picture, there is the module that we suggest. The first is the manufactured by XP Power. Same goes to on the right side, DTJ. And the left side is PYBE from manufactured by CUI INC. So basically, these three modules having almost the same characteristic that we talk later. From the module, from the number, you can see D12. That means D12 is the output for this module. Yep. The characteristic, the main idea for replace is make sure it's having a 12 output. So here is a comparison between the properties of the module. We see that 4 types. The first is the type that we are using the previous BDP, and the 3 type, another 3 is a module that we suggest. As we can see that there's not a lot of different. Obviously, the efficiency a bit as we look at the PYBE 20 on the right side, 88%, such a good percentage of efficiency. But in terms of the current that we are using, 0.8, is almost 1 ampere, a big high for the system. So we see that DTE is a good module to replace. Next is a recommended circuit to reduce the noise. So as we see the circuit there, we need to add an additional capacitor before the module and after the module. So the function is to reduce the input and the output ripple. Next, to if increase the input and output capacitor means that if the voltage having a different, so we need there is a calculation need to be done before. And lastly, select capacitor of low equivalent impedance provided the capacitance is less than maximum capacitance load of the module. So there's a lot of that needs a calculation work need to be done. So basically the expected result, as we see the waveform, the left side will be initial or without the capacitors, and next after we add the additional capacitor before and after the module, the signal should be nice and smooth. For this presentation, I will conclude that our study research is the main idea is find a best method estimate a system that give a better performance. We know that we can, it's not such a thing that we can make a noise a very smooth signal, but we need to manage, and it can manage. Understand the characteristic, why it come, how its signal, noise signal come out. So electromagnetic capability more need to make a research and reading about this. There's a lot of research until now is a lot of research and is still ongoing. The technology will become better, and this type of problem is always have in the system. We need to accept and improvise some method to reduce this thing. And lastly, this is my planning project. Here is we almost done in the first BDP. As we see, we are week 13, making preparing a writing report. And during this pandemic, there is a different type of presentation. We need to do a video. So week 14 will be a day that we're having a presentation and Q&A with a panel. So next semester, there is a project development in the first 5 weeks. We need to make sure that our thing that we got from this BDP is a good thing to deliver the system. Make sure that, and testing and simulation is start during week 5 until 10. This is a crucial part. We need to make sure this is having a good result and make sure its efficiency is almost 90% plus minus. And lastly, a writing chapter during last 3 weeks next semester, and presentation BDP2 during final week of December this year. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. My name is Aiman, and blessed to everyone. Bye. Assalamualaikum.